Where do I get the link?
Hey everybody, welcome to the weekend edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I am the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me this weekend, it's all Massachusetts all the time. It is on my left is Kerrie Ann Auclair. She is part of Sisters in Arms, a firearms story. She also helps me out on the Polite Society podcast on Monday nights. Charlie Cook is on my right. Charlie, of course, riding shotgun with Charlie, writing shotgun with Charlie, and Charlie's Gungrams, and big shock, Charlie helps me out on Monday nights on the Polite Society podcast. Both of you, thanks for coming along and joining me at 7:01 p.m. in the Central Time Zone, the only time zone that matters.
You can't say that if there's two East Coasters on the show, Paul.
I was just going to say that.
It's 2-3, man. You lose.
All right. Let me remind everybody as we get started, as I always do, comment wherever you're at. If you've got something you want to say about what we're talking about, throw a comment up. I get ones quickest from the Polite Society podcast, Facebook, and YouTube pages. If you comment and your comment doesn't show up right away, you slide over to those feeds and comment there, and we'll get your comments up. So let me go ahead and get my delayed face out of my face, because I have immediate feedback in front of me, and off to my right I have about a second and a half delay. So I got to get that. That's just distracting. I'm going to get show notes up here. And to start with, guys, for topics, and let me actually go back and see how we're doing. How are we doing? We're starting to get viewers in. And let's see if we've got any interactions yet. No comments yet. Not even any check-ins. Wow. So if you're there, check in. We're gonna wait to get to the actual news until we get some check-ins done. I'm gonna put you on. I'm gonna put you on the spot, Charlie. What's been going on with riding shotgun with Charlie, and what's coming up this Tuesday?
Well, fortunately, nothing's coming up this Tuesday. Whew. But I'll tell you what came out recently, because it's been a month since I've been on Polite Society. So here's what has happened. I spoke at the Gun Owners Action League, had the Second Amendment Freedom Rally, and that was at the end of August, which was a lot of fun. We had a lot of, they shipped in Amanda Suffolk, they shipped in Jared Yanis, they shipped in Patrick Collins, and then we had a lot of Massachusetts people, including Kerrie Ann, who spoke as well. Also, one of the speakers was Toby Leary from Cape Gun Works. He tore down the house, which was really awesome. So that was really cool, and we parlayed that into a very special riding shotgun with Charlie, where I took Kerrie Ann, Amanda, Mike Harris from Gun Owners Action League, who's actually going to be speaking at Gun Rights Policy Conference this weekend. And we took a couple of the local Massachusetts DC Project gals, Bonnie Marshall and Mo Alma, and the seven of us got in Kerrie Ann's vehicle. We drove around Boston to interview everybody everyone had a chance at the hot seat. We drove around to a bunch of Boston landmarks. We got out, we took selfies at Cheers, at the Granary, at the Old State House, at Kenmore Square, at a bunch of different places around Boston, and everyone got a chance to hop in and hop out. And it was a great time. It is a monster of a show. It is an hour and 25 minutes long. Holy moly. That's like a movie back in the 1980s.
Yes,
and
it is.
It was a lot of fun. There was close to 2.5 hours worth of stuff that I needed to edit. And I got it down.
God bless you. That's all I can say.
I got it down to 1:25, which was really cool. Or an hour 25.
That would have been some editing at 1:25.
Right. Hey, here's Kerrie Ann. Hey, here's Amanda. Hey, here's Holly. Oh, Holly Sullivan came with us as well. She was one of the speakers at the Second Amendment Freedom Rally too. So anyway, I did that. I put out a show with Todd Ellis, who is on the NRA Board of Directors. I got to interview him in Ambler, Pennsylvania, a while ago. So I put that show out. I put out the show from the one from Boston, and actually I took a class. I took an intuitive defensive carbine class with a couple guys, with one of the guys from Goal, with my good friend Mark, who is known as the Bay State King of Glocks, and the instructor was Rob Pincus. So that was really cool. I got a chance to shoot my AR upside down, which was a lot of fun. And
the AR upside down, was the AR upside down, or were you upside down?
The AR was upside down because we were, those, and I've seen these. I've never used one, but those little, there are these big boards that have a bunch of holes and triangles and diagonal slots this way. Yeah. So Rob made a couple of those which were not the same, and then he would put those in front of the targets, and then he would say, he would call off the number of the hole that's on the first board, and then we'd have to shoot one of the targets in the back, one of the PDN defensive targets. So he'd say like box number 3 and circle number 4. So you'd have to position yourself somehow to shoot through the triangle or the box that was number 3, and then shoot at the square of the circle number 4 on the target. And one of the pictures, I wasn't tall enough to reach through, so I had to turn the rifle upside down, and I looked through my red dot, held the gun upside down, and fired it that way. Which,
okay.
I gotta tell you, it
impressive.
was a little bit of a rush. It was a little bit of a rush.
When you speaking of 80s movies, I had a picture when you said you got to shoot your AR upside down. I had a picture of, I think it was Rocky 4, where they're holding they're in a barn, they're holding his ankles, and he's doing these sit-ups from a let me try and hang, and he's doing sit-ups like this.
Yeah, no, I would not be doing the sit-ups. I would be doing the fall down.
All right,
that's what I've been up to, and that was a lot of fun. So if anyone gets a chance to take the intuitive defensive carbine class, that was really cool.
I want to get one comment in. We're gonna get to news here. George checking in. We lost one of our dogs Thursday. She was the one that liked to sit on next to me on the couch. George, sorry for your loss, man. I've lost furry kids before, 4-legged kids. Man, there's very little in the world that hurts more than that. And that's not gun rights, but it's just not fair. Dogs hang around somewhere between 12 and 16 years. If you have an 18-year-old dog, you have a very aged dog. We hang around for 80 years, give or take, and that's just not fair.
Nope, I agree with you. Furry babies.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get started. The first 3 news stories, we're going to merge these all kind of into one long discussion, and that's about New Mexico. That is the big news story of the week. First one off kwrg.com.org. New Mexico governor amends order suspending right to carry firearms to focus on parks, playgrounds. Governor Grisham apparently, after several lawsuits, I think everybody that is a resident of New Mexico and several gun rights organizations all sued her within 15 minutes, and she figured out after injunctions started hitting, this isn't going to work, and so she backpedaled. I'm scrolling down. In this story, U.S. District Judge David Urias said Wednesday the governor's original order was likely to cause irreparable harm to people deprived of the right to carry a gun in public for self-defense, granting a temporary restraining order to block the suspension of gun rights until another hearing is held in early October. Further deliberations are scheduled in the U.S. District for early October. Guys, this is the ultimate in overstep. Governor Grisham is the definition of why elections matter, and you do not want to elect a dictator, because that's what she's trying to be.
Agreed.
Absolutely. I was reading the story here, and this is a quote from the governor herself. MLG. I can't say MLG. MLG is what she is, right? Michelle Lujan Grisham. This is a quote from the article. Last night we saw violent crime move through the city that resulted in a gun injury, 2 carjackings, a kidnapping with suspects not yet in custody. We have a very serious situation in our communities that requires very immediate results. So there's crime out there. She comes out and says people can't carry guns, and then crime rises. And then she talks about how crime's rising as a reason for not being able to carry guns. Hello? The people that are committing crimes, very much like the woman of the, the Democrat Worker Party in Minnesota.
Yes.
She found out that the bad guys and she admits, the woman in Minnesota admitted that the DFL, the Democrat Farmers Leadership, I think is what that
League
was.
Yes.
League. There we go. Thank you. So they know that crime is out there. They know that the criminals aren't. There's nothing happening to the criminals. There's no repercussions for their actions. There's no one that's going to stop them. So you're really telling people to just surrender to the violence and let it happen. This is crazy talk.
You know,
Clown town.
there was a politician in Missouri that rightfully lost his seat and has never been heard from again. But at one point he said, ladies, if you're going to get raped, you might as well lay back and enjoy it. And the guy lost. This is during re-election season. The guy lost his seat rightfully. I mean, what an idiot. Same guy said, well, there are hormones when a woman is getting raped that prevent her from getting pregnant. The guy obviously needed to take a high school biology course. But the guy never got hurt. And I've never heard from him again. He lost his seat, went away, and same thing needs to happen. This is the exact same reasoning Grisham is using. Is crime is going to happen? You might as well accept it and just be a good victim. And yeah.
This is. I was thinking the exact same thing, and I don't remember that there was a politician, but you obviously jogged my memory of that. This is the exact same thing as saying, "Hey, listen, man, your kids are going to drink and do drugs. You may as well just give it to them." Yeah, no, you shouldn't just give it to them. They need to, if they want to go out and drink illegally, they need to go out and do it on their own. You don't make it easier for people to commit crimes. And when the revolving door system of a judicial system that we have doesn't prevent people from doing this, they're not going to stop. The criminals aren't going to stop committing crimes.
No, there has to be punishment, and there has to be. Yes, the punishment needs to hurt worse. Hurt so bad they go, geez, I never want to think about doing that again.
Well, I think it's really sad that people they're treating us like we're not the bad guys, and we're not getting these firearms illegally. And I know that I can't stand that word either, but we're not purchasing these firearms illegally. We're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing according to the law of each state. And these criminals are getting the firearms illegally. They're getting arrested, and then there's other charges that are along with it. Maybe it's drugs or something else like that, and they want to get the drug dealer, so they drop the charges for the illegal firearms and then let them back out on the street again. So I'm not really exactly sure how that's solving the issue by punishing us. I'm not. It doesn't make sense.
Well, and Charlie, I want to go back to that quote you had from the governor. There was a gun injury. I hope there was a gunsmith on call and that Glock got taken care of. I hate it when Glocks get injured.
Right. Somebody dropped a gun. So I was out with some friends of mine, catching up with some friends today, And one of them was telling me this story that they went to a family get together, and there was a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and these kids they flew in from somewhere else. They had the suitcases with the 4 wheels on it, and they were getting on their suitcases and rolling down the hallway. The grandparents told these kids 7 times to not do that. It's dangerous. They don't want them scratching up the floor. All of these things, right? The parents were gone. The grandparents were watching the grandkids. The grandkids did this. The parents come home. The grandparents said, "Hey, we told the kids not to do this 7 times," and they're like, "Oh, come on, you guys." This is the exact same thing that happens, except it's with criminals. We treat these people with kid gloves. We don't prosecute them. They don't face any stiff punishment, which is going to make them change their mind and say, "Hey, listen, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do that again. Maybe I shouldn't commit crime. Maybe I shouldn't steal a gun. Maybe I shouldn't rob somebody," because the consequences are nothing. There's no consequences and repercussions for their evil acts.
And I'm going back to my kids. I remember when my son was in 5th grade, there was a couple kiddos that were causing a lot of problems. Instead of taking out the kiddos that were causing a lot of problems, they canceled the whole entire field trip for the entire class, which doesn't make sense. And so isn't that what they're doing now?
I think it's similar. I think and I think the judge nailed it. There is a very high likelihood of irreparable harm by not being able to carry your gun for self-defense in public. Because now, when the criminal says, "Look, I'm going to take your money and your 16-year-old daughter," there's nothing you can do to stop him.
Exactly. And then when the two of us live in occupied territory, on the East Coast time. I like to tell people when we talk about high capacity magazines, how much ammunition should you have when there's 3 guys that are breaking into your house that are going to do evil and bad things to your wife and daughter and then kill them? How much ammunition should you have? Well, I need to have, enough to shoot and kill all these guys. Yeah, probably. That's a good answer. But if it's more than 10 rounds, you're going to need another magazine. You're going to have to learn how to do some quick mag changes because the state of Massachusetts does not want you to be able to protect yourself. We had, Kerrie Ann probably doesn't remember this, but the Attorney General we had before the Attorney General that's now our governor, her name was Martha Coakley. And Martha Coakley came out one time and she said, as she's doing a press conference, and there's gun violence and all this, going on. And she got up there and she said, "We discourage people from self-help," which means be a victim and sit back and enjoy it.
Don't protect yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sticking on New Mexico, I want to read a little bit of a press release from the Second Amendment Foundation. Second Amendment Foundation supports an official request by 6 United States senators that U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice act swiftly and take legal action against New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's unconstitutional edict suspending Second Amendment rights in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County. Quote from SAF founder and Executive Vice President Alan Gottlieb: "Attorney General Garland should have acted immediately when Governor Lujan Grisham announced her order last week. Instead, Garland and the DOJ have remained silent while gun rights organizations, including SAF, had to carry their water by suing to protect the constitutional rights of American citizens. It was us, not Garland and the DOJ, who went to federal court and obtained a temporary restraining order against the governor, and the American public should be asking why. The fact that Garland and the Biden DOJ have not taken any action is proof positive that Joe Biden has not upheld his oath of office. Furthermore, Garland's obnoxious hands-off reaction to the governor's outrageous direct attack on the Second Amendment clearly illustrates why he was not confirmed by the Senate to serve on the United States Supreme Court." And look, guys, this how am I trying to say this? Let me actually get one more quote in here. This is from our executive director, Adam Kraut. Attorney General Garland and the DOJ have been AWOL since this disgraceful episode erupted a week ago. There is no small irony in the fact that SAF and other gun rights organizations have once again had to defend the Constitution while Garland and his boss have been so busy trying to erode it. SAF, again, full disclosure, I am an employee of SAF, as I say at the beginning of every show, but SAF was the first. There are many, and we'll talk about one more in a few minutes, but gun rights organizations had to do what the federal government should have done and what Joe Biden has sworn to do, protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Amen. MLG here did come out and said that she came out at the beginning of all this and said that there's no she's not even her powers can be suspended in times of emergencies, right? She said something along this line, which to me says you're willing to give up our constitutional rights, and you're willing to give up your position, which means you should give up your position. And if the people don't have you impeached and have you removed, then you should be adult enough and mature enough to remove yourself.
You know what I've got, and this is just because I use the same set, the digital set, for the weekend bullet as I do the weekday bullet. And let me go ahead and run this. It's a 1 minute 49-second video. This is the press conference where Governor Grisham announces what she's done, and it also. I want you to pay attention at the very end of this. There's a question: do you expect criminals to comply with your decision? She says no. I'm just going to run this here real quick after I make sure, because last time I did this there was no audio from it. I want to make sure audio is going to run. That is number 38. Yes, it is. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. But your point is valid.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment. Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those two. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican.
I'm going to pause right there, and I think that's not the right one. I'm going to put us back on the screen. I'm going to pause right there, and what she's saying is, I declared an emergency which gives me additional powers. Yeah, that's not the way the game is played, Governor. Kerrie Ann or Charlie, you want to comment on that part of it?
Is it true that I heard earlier today somewhere that she can't do that? She can't do that. Is that correct? She doesn't have the power to do that, even though she's saying that she can?
I believe that is the case, yes.
Yeah. And again, I mean, what about we the people? What about the rest of us? You know, we don't deserve a right to protect ourselves and our family from these criminals that are causing obvious issues. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Charlie?
It's completely nuts. She knows this isn't going to work. She admits it's not going to work, but she still wants to do it. That's what's the definition of insanity? Like doing the same thing and expecting different results. Hello. Yeah. She knows this is not going to work, but she's still going to go through with it because she wants to usurp more power and take more rights. Right? Yeah. No, these people need to go. Yes.
We got 49 more seconds of this. I'm going to go ahead and run that. And the question I was talking about is coming up here in just a few seconds. So let's go ahead and go back to that.
And your rights are subjugated to theirs. And they are not, in my view.
You said about crimes. There are laws against crimes, so how are they...
But again, if I'm unsafe, who's standing up for that? If this climate is so out of control, somebody should do something. I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Yep. Do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No. But here's what I do think. It's a pretty resounding message.
All right, that's the end of the video I have. Yeah, it is, Governor, it is a resounding message to the criminals saying, everybody you're going to meet is going to be disarmed. So you now have additional power, criminals. Go do your worst.
I have a question. Oops, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's victim carte blanche. Like, it's a buffet for the criminals. Go take what you want. Go do what you want. Go have your way. And by the way, we don't have a limit. So keep on coming back to the trough. Fill up, man. Get some more pineapples. Get some more fries. Get some more chicken nuggets. Get some more chicken wings. Like, keep on going. Come back. Hey, don't forget, the pudding's really good too. And after you have the pudding, we got that little ice cream thing. Go get some ice cream as well. Go help yourself and stay as long as you want.
My question is, wasn't there a statement that the local police department made regarding what was going on? I just can't remember. I thought I saw something to the effect that they said they were not going to comply or something like that.
There were several police agencies that said we're not going to enforce this. We're not. Well, and let's get into this. Last year, the governor signed the revocation of qualified immunity for law enforcement and for all government officials, which includes herself. Meaning that she can be directly sued now. And at least in the SAF's case, and I believe in several of the other cases, she's being personally named in these lawsuits. Her money is on the line. Yeah, these are all civil lawsuits, so we cannot lock her up. However, we can make her broke. We can make her great grandchildren destitute. And yeah, we're starting. Go, Charlie.
I got to tell you, going back to the previous article, there is somebody that resulted in a gun injury, 2 car hijackings, and a kidnapping. Who should be at the top of the list to sue this woman personally? And all of her fortunes need to go to those first 4 victims.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's get to some comments here. Spartan 6. Oh, by the way, hey, Spartan 6. Glad to see you in today. If violent crime is to be curbed, it is only the intended victim who can do it. The felon does not fear the police, and he fears neither the judge nor jury. What he must be taught to fear is his victim. Spartan 6 is right, and primarily because your average criminal does not think they're going to get caught. The death penalty is not a deterrent.
And if they get caught, there's no repercussions.
Yeah, there's
nothing.
Exactly. But going back to before that, they think they're going to get away with it. So,
from your calendar,
Alexa, stop. Shouldn't have her in the studio so close to me, but they don't think they're going to get caught. They think they're going to get away with it. What will stop them is I may not live through the end of this crime. This person may have a gun and may shoot me if I try to harm them. That will curb crime.
Exactly. That's the repercussion that they should get.
There was someone a bunch of years ago that did some story on the news or some documentary or something, and they talked to people that were in jail, and they said, "What are you guys afraid of?" And they said, "We're afraid of armed citizens. We're not afraid of the police. We're not afraid of the judicial system. We know that the police probably aren't going to shoot us because it's a lot of paperwork and a lot of hassle for them, but we are afraid of people in their houses who have guns that are going to shoot back."
Yeah. Get to more comments here. This one again from Spartan 6. Problem is that there's no equivalent of UCMJ for politicians or police. They fear no repercussions for their actions. As I mentioned, not quite so much in New Mexico, because New Mexico does not have qualified immunity anymore. The police and all government officials can be sued. If they're sued in their official capacity, they're sued personally as well. And George says, and I'm not a lawyer, so do not take what I'm saying as legal advice.
What it is.
Governor Grisham would feel more at home in the old Soviet Union, or maybe Germany, 1934 to 38 era. She'd have been great there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indubitably.
And again, what really gets me the most about this is that I declared an emergency that gives me additional powers, and that just burns me.
This is what tyranny is, kids. Take a look at New Mexico. This is what that is. People that have power taking more power and taking your power away from you.
Right.
Yeah, this is not free America.
Shall not be infringed.
Yes. I want to jump a little bit, and I'm going to go to we're going to change topics. I'm going to go to a press release from the office of California Governor Gavin Newsom. Getting this right off his website. Governor Gavin Newsom's proposal to amend the United States Constitution with a right to safety achieved a major milestone today as California became the first state in the nation to call for a constitutional convention for gun safety. With the Assembly's approval of Senate Joint Resolution 7, authored by Senator Aisha Wahab and Assemblymember Reggie Jones. This is why I do artificial intelligence to read. Assemblymember Reggie Jones Sawyer, California has officially requested a constitutional convention. And a quote from Governor Newsom: "The right to safety amendment would preserve the integrity of the Second Amendment while enshrining in our Constitution common sense safety provisions that are supported overwhelmingly by American people." Baloney! I'm sorry, was that external? Guys, the constitutional conventions, I don't like the idea on our side. There's been since the 1980s, believe it or not, there's been calls for a constitutional convention. And then when it started in the 1980s, it was for a balanced budget amendment. I didn't like it back then. I don't like it now, because a constitutional convention opens the whole ball of wax up. You could the 29th proposed amendment could go through. Any amendment can be made through when you get into a constitutional convention. I just don't like the sound of it. Besides Governor Newsom, I need to bring you up to a basic math class here. And I know he watches, so Governor Newsom, right now, the majority of the states numerically have permitless carry. I don't need to ask Mother May I to the government in my home state of South Dakota to walk outside either openly or concealed carrying a firearm. Do you think those states are going to, and we need 3/4 of them to approve your amendment, do you think 3/4 of the states are going to go for your 29th Amendment? Yeah, you're hoping that Biden steps down. You're hoping to step into his shoes and maybe get a date with Kamala. I don't know.
Woo! Mercy, mercy, mercy. You know, Kamala's a married woman.
Yeah, and I wasn't she a married woman when her and what's the name? Something
Joe Brown?
Joe Brown. Yeah, I wanted to say Charlie Brown, but I don't want to sully the
Right.
I don't want to sully the great cartoon character's reputation.
Right. So this, first of all, I absolutely love Adam Carolla, and about 10 years ago, Adam Carolla had Gavin Newsom on his podcast, and he interviewed Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom said intelligent things like, if you're in traffic, then you are traffic. So he's a real deep thinker. We're going to have a constitutional convention for the right to safety, but we're only going to focus on guns. And if we were going to focus on guns, let's do some things like have Derek LeBlanc come in and say, hey, we're going to mandate gun safety, safety education training to children and to young people. And we're going to teach them how to be safe with guns. What they're really pushing, of course, is gun abstinence. It's what they want. But they really want, they say gun education, but they want gun abstinence. And it's the same old playbook. What does it say here? Raise the minimum age from 18 to 21. Mandating universal background checks, instituting a waiting period, which is the NICS system. What came about because they wanted to have, what was it, a 3 to 10 day waiting period? I forget what it was. Yeah, and they said, hey, this is a bunch of baloney. We need to make this a little quicker. Let's do this instant check system, and let's put money towards that, and let's do that instead. And so now that they have that, they want to go back to let's have the cooling down period. If you already have a bunch of guns and you're pissed off and you want to buy another gun, if you really want to hurt someone, you've got other guns that you can hurt people with if you want to. But that's not what gun owners do, or lawful gun owners do. And then the last one here is banning assault weapons and weapons of war to civilians. This is all the same crap. It's all the same nonsense, but it's just giving it a different title by calling it the right to safety. The right to safety should be some sort of education to teach people how to be safe with firearms. Maybe teach them how to be safe in public. Teach them the refuse to be a victim class. Maybe teach them a pepper spray class. Do something that's going to be some real sort of safety to be able to protect people.
Let's make the community safer by educating them.
George Geller reminds us it was Willie Brown.
Willie Brown. All right, Judge
Willie
Joe
Brown
was the other guy. I know. Look, we both knew it was the Browns. You thought it was Charlie. I thought it was Joe.
All right. Let me get, and we've got the comments have just exploded. Let me get some of them in. Spartan 6. More like Gavin Gruesome. I love that. I'm stealing that. I'm stealing that, Spartan 6. George Geller says, California gave you Reagan. Now we're giving you Newsom. Sorry. The way he makes it sounds like a sexually transmitted disease. Oh
my God.
Gave it a clap. Sorry.
Well, listen, it's the same act, okay?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. This is nuts. They want all the same crap, and then they tote. When you look further down on the website here, they tote the same nonsense. California's ranked #1 for gun safety. Gun death is 43% less than in the rest of the United States. Ugh. I mean, all of this. Gun laws helped save 19,000 Californians in the last decade. How many people have using a gun safe? How many people in California is using a gun safe? This is probably something for John Lott. He's probably got this someplace as well, right? It's all nonsense. It's all bullcrap. It's not going to do anything. This is meet the old boss the same as the new boss. Meet the gun control. The old gun control is the same as the new gun. New gun control is the same as the old gun control.
I got to get back to comments here real quick. Brooke Cheney, who is also often, and by the way, in about 20 minutes, Brooke is going live with her Suicide Prevention Saturday. At least I haven't heard she's not. So go, Brooke, if you're not going to be broadcasting, let me know so I can keep people longer, because this one feels like we're going to go long. But Brooke says, can they just pass all laws apply equally to all citizens? You know, like lifetime benefits after serving for a session? And yeah, that would, if they only would. And then Spartan 6 replies, Brooke, seriously? They couldn't implement Marxism, socialism, and communism if they did that.
Come on, this isn't real socialism. But it wasn't been real socialism. This is real socialism.
Yeah, real socialism hasn't ever been tried. Well, neither has real capitalism. I love that comeback. I heard that once, and I said to that person, I'm stealing this. Yeah, the next time somebody says to me, well, socialism doesn't work, but real socialism has never been tried, I'll look right straight at him and say, yeah, neither has real capitalism ever been tried.
I read something. I was talking with, go ahead. If you got something, bring it up.
Let me get just real quick, and then we'll get to you, Charlie. I want to get this one in. Brooke said, tonight's topic is pain and suffering, so you should roll in just perfect. So
get Brooke in on this, and we'll switch over to her channel at 9:00.
There you go.
Yeah, well, so we got 19 minutes to wrap this up, guys. So, and then C&T Designs and Arms checking in, saying, sup, perps, and why did that not come through? By the way, I invited Coop, C&T Designs and Arms, to come on tonight. He is going to be, he's on an alligator hunt, with the next time he's on, I want to talk to him about that. I want to go on an alligator hunt. That sounds like an awesomely amazing time to me. Charlie, you were going to say something before I just derailed you, man.
So first of all, is Coop going to be wearing some boots and belts that are made from these gators he's bringing home?
That's on you, Coop. Let us know.
That's the real question, right? So here's what I wanted to say. A long time ago, I read Barry Goldwater's Conscience of a Conservative, and this is when I was trying to figure out where I leaned politically, and there was a 3-word phrase he said in Conscience of a Conservative that I absolutely loved, and I enjoy buying books. I wish I'd enjoyed reading books as much as I enjoy buying them, but I can't remember. I can remember almost nothing that I've read, which is bad, like particularly when it comes to test taking and whatnot. But there was something I read in Conscience of a Conservative from Barry Goldwater from 1964, and the phrase was maximum individual freedom, and that is what I want. I want maximum individual freedom. And Gavin Newsom does not believe in maximum individual freedom, and MLG does not believe in maximum individual freedom. And I like that phrase a lot.
Something just occurred to me, and I'm becoming annoyed with 3-letter politicians, MLG, AOC. Yeah, we need to stop that. We absolutely.
We do like FJB though.
Yes, we do.
Right? So last year at Gun Rights Policy Conference was in Dallas, and I went and did the not the official tour of the Kennedy assassination, because I absolutely love the Kennedy assassination. But I was calling Lee Harvey Oswald LHO, and somebody's like, "Who's LHO?" I'm like, Lee Harvey Oswald. Come on. Like, dude, we've never heard him called LHO. Like, this is going to be our new thing.
Wow. One more comment. 2 more comments here, quick. I got to get one in that I didn't have a chance to read. Whoops. The wrong button. But does Charlie have to get back to Utah to teach classes? So,
yes, soon, Tony. Soon, Tony.
And Brooke says, LOL, Charlie, I always lie to myself and say I won't buy any more books until I read the ones on my shelf. My issue is, and speaking of gun rights policy conference, my issue is every year when you go to gun rights policy conference, they give you books. I have hundreds of unread books from going to gun rights policy conference. Every year when I make a vow, I got to get some of these knocked out. And I never, ever, ever, ever get them all read. I very rarely get more than a few read.
You know what I've done is, sometimes you'll get the same books a couple years in a row, and I, being tactically frugal, as Tony Simon likes to say, I take the books with me, and then I give them away when I do classes. If I have a big class and there's 12 or 14 people in it, I'll say, look, I got a book on this. I'll ask some, ridiculous, arbitrary trivia question about something, and then I'll give somebody one of the books. So I try to recycle them, man, and do the whole pay it forward thing. Get a book for free.
So what you're saying is you're re-gifting.
I say I'm paying it forward. I mean, if I already have a copy, I'm not re-gifting. I'm just passing it along.
All right.
It's a coffee table university, right?
Are they autographed? Are they autographed?
They are not autographed. Not unless you catch somebody there that wrote it and will autograph it for you.
Because Charlie loves you.
Yes. So I have a thing for autographed books, and I like to. I've been building a collection of books for John Petrolino that all say to John because Charlie cares, and then it's signed by the author. And you know when this all started, Paul? This all started in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, June of 21, when I had a copy of In the Gravest Extreme, and I asked Masada Ayub to sign a copy for John, and Masad writes, to John, because Charlie cares, Masada Ayub. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this for everybody. So I've got books by, Cam Edwards that I've given to John that he signed to Charlie because Charlie cares, and a book by Evan Knappen, and a couple of other books as well. So yeah, it's a little out of control.
I'm feeling left out. I don't have one yet, so we got to make that.
Well, we're starting working on them. We'll get you going.
All right.
I as well. I've got two examples right here. Greg Hopkins, A Time to Kill, Dan Waz, Good Gun, Bad Guy series. I've got autograph of both of these. I'm addicted to autographed books as well. I've got a good number of them, including some Masada Ayub books that are actually out in the main library out there. Main library, that's the library. It's my living room, but that's where all the books reside.
It sounds better the other way. It's in the palatial estates of Paul and Lathrop.
Exactly. Let me get some more comments
Going
in
to
here.
the library.
We're getting down to time where I want to be out of here in time for Brooke to get an audience built up for her show. But let me get Wood says, I often fill out 4473s while carrying 2 guns. And he says,
nice.
Like the last 10 guns I bought. Awesome. And see, this is my issue too. I don't have who said this, just that it's coming from Facebook. Reading puts me to sleep. Read a little most nights, and that's me, a little. I get 5-6 pages in, and it's who needs medications to help you fall asleep? I just need a book.
Right.
Yep, it's so true. Oh gosh.
Simon says, Train says, sign it from Charlie with love.
Oh.
And he also says, I've got to write a book just so I can sign it to John.
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect. Oh,
all right.
My gosh.
And so let's, guys, we got one more story. We got just a little bit of time left. I want to talk about the Oregon Measure 114 approved last year in the elections. And it was almost a lot of play, including SAF, GOA, Firearms Policy Coalition. Everybody took the state of Oregon to court. Many restraining orders were issued. The ones that are the most likely to stay are the state ones, because some of the federal ones have gone away. The state restraining orders are still up against this law, and that case goes where the restraining order is still active, goes to court Monday. And this 114, this measure 114 is really the gun grabber's ultimate wet dream of a law. It's, you've got to have a permit to purchase a firearm you get from your local law enforcement, and to get that permit you have to have live fire experience, which, oh, by the way, if you don't own a gun, is really hard to have live fire training on a firearm that you don't own, because you don't possess, because you have to have a permit to possess, which you can't get if you can't demonstrate live fire with it. There's a lot of other, there's magazine limitations, there's a lot of other things in this thing that are just horrific, and it finally goes to court coming up on Monday.
Sounds like
Thank goodness. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like, how are people? So you want people to be proficient with a firearm in order to take an exam or a qualification to get a firearm, but you don't give people access to the firearm to practice with. So let's relate this, and I do hate it when we relate firearms to vehicles, but let's say you've never driven before, and now you want to go get a driver's license. You've never driven. It would be illegal for you to drive without a driver's license, and then you have to go do a driving exam. My kids are in their early 20s, and they had to do, I think, 40 hours of driving and riding and sitting with the instructor in the car as they drive around the county. It's ridiculous to expect someone to learn how to do something proficiently enough to make you happy, and not give them the opportunity to practice or get familiar with learning how to use these things.
Well, and
Just
Charlie,
another example of control.
oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Charlie, I'm thinking that if the gun grabbers get their way, instead of going through like a driver's ed course where an instructor is beside you, you're going to have to get your driver's license. You're going to have to go all the way up to being able to qualify to race Formula One before they'll let you get your license to purchase.
Well, I've told some people about relating it similarly to the HD 4420 that we have here in Massachusetts. That's kind of going on right now. You're asking people to go through all of this training to get a firearm, pass a written exam, do a qualification, do escalation training, and do active shooter training without having had access to a gun before. And then you're going to put up signs where they can't carry guns. It's like learning how to say, yeah, you got to learn how to drive a Formula One car. You got to learn how to drive a NASCAR. You got to drive 225 miles an hour. Oh, by the way, you can't drive on the roads.
Yeah.
And the
So
instructor
you're
can't
gonna have
even
to
And the speed limit is 25.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane.
Yep.
All right. We are just about to the point where we need to think about getting out of the way so Brooke can have her audience. Kerrie Ann, I hit Charlie at the beginning of the show. I'm going to hit you at the end of the show. Tell us about Sisters in Arms, a firearm story, and anything else you want to plug today.
Sure. So I got some exciting news. I'm now working for GOAL, Gun Owners Action League. I'm the Advocacy State Director now, and I'm still the Women's Program Assistant. And so I'm living my dream. And we, like Charlie said earlier, we did the Second Amendment celebration a couple weeks ago, and that was really exciting. We had about 300 people, and we really brought awareness to HD 4420, and we brought awareness to the importance of advocating and also supporting local groups like the DC Project and of course GOAL. And we're doing a event tomorrow, 2A celebration for the Norfolk Republican Committee. So I'm looking forward to that. So there's a lot of great things going on. Sisters in Arms is still going strong, and we're almost at our first year anniversary. So again, Sisters in Arms, a firearm story. Check it out. We've had some really amazing speakers that jumped on, between Nikki Gosser and Walk the Talk America, Charlie Cook, GOAL. Oh my God, there's been so many. So check it out, and again, stay informed and advocate and keep training.
All right, Charlie, is there anything you didn't plug at the beginning of the show that you want to plug now, bud?
Yes. Sorry, I had to think about it. This coming Monday, my latest Writing Shotgun with Charlie comes out on Armed Lifestyle magazine, and the person that is the subject is Rebecca Schmoy, Kansas, the president of Kansas or whatever, as her kids call her. She's a state rep at the House of Representatives in Kansas. She is the subject of the Writing Shotgun with Charlie at armedlifestylemagazine.com. So please check that out. It's going to come out this coming Monday. And, of course, subscribe to Writing Shotgun with Charlie and download the podcast and hit the notification bell on YouTube and all that cool stuff.
Absolutely.
Is she still a DC gal?
Yes, she's an everything gal.
She really is. I often compare her with Amanda Suffolk because both of them have fingers and arms and everything, and are working all around and getting all kinds of things done. And I'm sitting here going, what am I doing? But anyway,
she needs her own T-shirt then.
Yes.
Right.
Brooke says, love her. Brooke, you could see her if you could make it to AmCon and Gun Rights Policy Conference next weekend. The time remaining, I'm going to take a little bit of time, and I'm going to give a little bit of a plug for AmCon and Gun Rights Policy Conference. AmCon, the Alternative Mass Media Conference, is for pro-gun bloggers, video YouTubers, video whatever, podcasters. If you are in Second Amendment media, you're pro-Second Amendment, you could attend. It's absolutely free. We'll help you make your media better. We may not make you speak better because, but anyway, we will make your media better. We'll help you increase your reach. We'll help you with your branding. We will help you all around. That is Friday coming up. Saturday and Sunday is Gun Rights Policy Conference in Phoenix. It is just amazing. Every year I will never miss one until they put me in the ground. It'll be the first one I miss. Ever since the first one I got to. I met Charlie at Gun Rights Policy Conference. I met Amanda Suffolk at Gun Rights Policy Conference. Both of them the same year, ironically.
Yeah, 2016 down in Tampa.
Wow. Cowboy Hillbilly wants to know, will the 2024 GRPC be held in Florida State? I'm going to say there's a 50-50 shot of it. That decision is made way up here. I'm somewhere down about below the basement. I'm that's not even close to my pay grade to decide where they're held. If I had my choice, we'd go to the belly of the beast and we'd have it in Boston next year. We would have it, we would go somewhere where gun rights are really in trouble and we'd have it there. We've done it in Chicago before. We've done it in San Francisco before. I do like the idea of going where gun rights are in trouble. We go there, we bring all kinds of Second Amendment advocates in. We discuss, and what Gun Rights Policy Conference is, we discuss what works, and people who are doing it in their state and getting positive results share what they're doing so that can be replicated all throughout the country. If you cannot make Phoenix and you want to see what's going on with AmCon and maybe get your social media improved, get your broadcasting improved, that AmCon will be aired live right where you're watching this on the Polite Society podcast channels. If you want to watch GRPC and you cannot go to Phoenix, go to SAF's channels, Second Amendment Foundation, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. On Rumble, it's all going to be on one. So we got to get out of here. I got tones going off in my ear saying the top of the hour is here, and Brooke Cheney's going to be starting her broadcast. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for commenting. Podcast listeners, Thanks for listening. We'll see you next